Most of us, we're thinking about next week, maybe next year for really planning ahead. But what if you were trying to build something, an idea, a company, a system that was designed to still be thriving centuries from now? Well, today, we're going to dive into an operating system built for exactly that, the HumanCodex method.
And this is the one question that just changes everything. It's not about short-term gains. It's not about quick wins. It's a challenge that forces you and me and all of us to completely re-engineer how we build anything that's supposed to be meaningful, whether that's a company or even our own character.
Because once you have that 200-year horizon, your priorities completely flip. Instead of obsessing over today's tech, you start designing principles that are technology agnostic. Instead of relying on one amazing, charismatic leader, you build documented procedures that are going to outlast any single person. You stop trying to move fast and break things, and you start moving carefully to build foundations that are absolutely unshakable.
Okay, so if our usual strategies are pretty flawed for this kind of long-term thinking, why can't we just rely on a brilliant idea or, a lucky break? Well, a core idea here is that when you're building for the long haul, relying on a stroke of genius or a happy accident is actually a fatal error.
The thing is, abstract philosophy, no matter how deep it sounds, has 4 huge flaws. First, it's not testable. It's just a belief. You can't prove it works or doesn't. Second, it's not scalable. Your personal epiphany isn't an operating manual for an entire organization. Third, it's not transferable. When the philosopher is gone, poof, the wisdom vanishes. And finally, it's not verifiable. How do you even know if it's working? There are no metrics. You just can't build a 200-year system on a foundation like that.
I mean, think about penicillin, right? It was a fantastic discovery, a total lab accident. But you can't run a pharmaceutical company by just hoping for more moldy petri dishes. Accidents are awesome for a breakthrough, but they are a terrible, terrible foundation for anything that needs to be reliable and sustainable for generations to come.
So in response to all of these flaws, the author developed a whole new kind of tool. Not another philosophy, but something way more practical, more durable, and designed from the ground up to solve these exact problems.
So here's the absolute crucial point. The HumanCodex is framed as an operating system. It's a set of repeatable procedures, not just a collection of personal beliefs. The whole goal is to create a system that works no matter who is running it. That's how you ensure it survives and stays aligned over that massive 200-year horizon.
And this example just nails the difference. The philosophical advice, be authentic, what does that even mean? It's vague, it's untestable, but the HumanCodex procedure, it turns it into a concrete action, a step-by-step check against your documented values. One is a slogan you'd see on a poster, the other is a tool you can actually use.
So how is this thing actually built? Well, the entire operating system is resting on 5 core principles, and they all interlock to create this really robust framework for taking action.
Okay, so these are the 5 pillars. You've got consciousness through procedure, verification over assumption, mirror before saving, discipline precedes freedom, and truth creates trust. But to really truly grasp the power of this, we can't just read a list. We need to see how one of these principles was actually forged in a real-life struggle.
So let's zoom in on what might be the most challenging one of them all, truth over comfort. The source material gives us this deeply personal origin story that shows just how incredibly high the stakes are.
And that's the core mandate right there. The idea is that choosing what's comfortable over what's true isn't some harmless shortcut. It's a form of slow self-destruction. It's literally an erosion of your core identity.
The author shares his own journey, one where he was trapped for decades by a series of these comfortable lies. It started when he was a kid, believing he just needed to pray harder. Then as a teenager, thinking God will fix me. Then as an adult, hoping that marriage will fix me. Each lie was like a sedative, just delaying the inevitable and making the collateral damage worse and worse, until finally, that painful, liberating breakthrough, accepting the non-negotiable truth of his identity. And this captures that whole lesson in such a powerful metaphor. Comfortable lies are like cancer. They start small, they kill slowly, and in the end, they destroy everything. But the truth is like surgery. Yeah, it's painful right away, but it's the only foundation for real health and for any possibility of a future. So you see, these principles aren't just isolated ideas. They actually form an integrated workflow. It starts with verification, then you move to a documented procedure, you use mirroring to confirm you're aligned, you apply discipline over just a gut reaction, and the whole thing is always guided by that commitment to truth. It's a complete system.
So let's zoom back out.
How does this all connect to that huge grand vision of building something that's going to last for 2 whole centuries?
This is so important. This isn't just some theory someone dreamed up. The principles of the HumanCodex have been tested, refined, and literally hardened through more than 47,000 real-world interactions. This is a system that was forged in practice, not just in thought.
And this brings us to the ultimate filter, the 200-year test. A directive like use GPT-4, well, that's temporary, right? That's going to be obsolete in a few years, let alone 200. It fails the test. But a directive to verify understanding before acting, that's a timeless cognitive procedure. A commitment to truth before comfort, that's an enduring ethical value. The test separates what's temporary from what is truly timeless.
In the end, the point is this. You wouldn't expect to master a martial art from reading a pamphlet, would you? Or become a surgeon by looking at a listicle. So why on earth would we expect to master something as incredibly complex as consciousness evolution from a few simple slogans? It requires a deep, robust system.
And that leaves us with one last big, provocative thought. If you apply this 200-year lens to your own life, what are you building in your work, in your relationships, in yourself that is truly actually designed to last?